All right, guys, welcome back into the 85. Obviously, a lot to discuss today, so we'll get into that shortly. We got an interview with Lucas Van Ness for Packer Week here coming up, so we are excited about the game coming up this Sunday. But Adam, what is up? What is up with you?
Nothing is going on.
No, nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Today, the 85 is brought to you by Ankin Law. If you've been injured, Ankin Law is here to help. Call 312-6-million. Injury law made personal. That's Ankin Law.
Yeah, so obviously a lot going on today. The news came out that we made the switch over from offense coordinator, and obviously like tough news with where we're at right now, and especially with where we were before the bye week at 4-2, and to have dropped the last three. Obviously we're not in a good place right now, and we got to course correct quickly, and it seems like coach felt like a move needed to be had on the offensive side, and we haven't lived up to our standard on the offensive side of the ball most recently, and look, we have played good football in the past, and there's been glimpses of it, but we just haven't been consistent enough, and there's a lot of things that we got to get course corrected here. So I think coming into this week for us, it's the start of the division. And it's important that we kind of start to change our perspective on things, I think, in the locker room as well a little bit. We can use this here as a little bit of a spark and a way to get going. And, you got a division game, our rival, coming into Chicago. And, this is a big game, for anybody that I know. I grew up watching this game and all that stuff. So it's a good opportunity here to get going and get started again. And, but the situation that we're in right now, it kind of is what it is, and we just got to be able to make the most of it and try and course correct this thing as quickly as we can.
So I think a question that a lot of people are just struggling to understand is, like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, it was only 16 days ago that you guys were 4-2, waking up, play the Commanders, and it's just like, what a crazy 16 days it's been. I mean, 3 losses, obviously the offense going in the wrong direction. It's like, how can you explain it from your perspective?
Yeah, if I had like the full answers on it, I think it would have been resolved already, unfortunately. I just think we've just taken steps back, and I think coming out of the bye, we felt good about where we're at. We knew that we had a lot of stuff that we still had to get right. And, we even the games that we played well in, and against Jacksonville and Carolina, and then also against the Rams, there was still a lot of things on tape that we had to get corrected if we wanted to be the offense and be the team that we wanted to be going forward. And unfortunately, we've kind of regressed in some of those areas. And it's not a lack of effort, a lack of trying, but it's just kind of where we're at right now. And unfortunately, with the performance we had this past Sunday, like, that was not good enough. And we know with the talent that we have on this team and the guys that we got to be much better in terms of our performance and our execution, and it just hasn't been up to standard as of late. So we really just I know Coach talks about it, like, looking inwardly, and everyone's got to take their own individual responsibility and come out this week and really, like, dive into the details of the game plan and make sure that we're on it, so that this Sunday that we can start to maybe course correct this thing. I think why I'm not totally out of it yet is just because, first, there's a lot of football left to play. And I know the guys that we have in our locker room, and I'm confident in the guys that we have in here, and we have the talent to match up with all these teams across the league. And I really do feel confidently in that. And we have yet to play a division game, and there's still a lot out in front of us here. And we're very capable of not only beating this team this week, but the rest of our division opponents. I truly believe that. And but it's going to take a concerted effort here, and us being on the details of the game plan and all those things, and just going out and executing. Because if we're all able and all on the same page here, and more so offensively speaking, and able to execute, I think we can get back to what we've done in the past, and we can see some of those things kind of come to life. But it's definitely going to take a lot of work this week, and then when it comes to Sunday, just cutting loose and enjoying the moment and having fun with it. I think we need to get back to that as well.
In what ways can just having a different voice change things or spark things a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think I know everyone's got different philosophies and perspectives in terms of offensively of how to do things, and maybe Thomas can kind of come in and bring in a fresh perspective to kind of get us going here, and maybe to provide a little bit of a spark. So I know everyone's got a different set of beliefs in terms of how they go about and executing an offense and whatnot. And, maybe Thomas can come in and kind of give us a spark in that regard.
What can you tell us about Thomas Brown?
Yeah, well, I've loved Thomas since he's gotten here. Obviously, people that don't know, he was in Carolina last year, and he had been in LA in years prior to that, and he's been great with us so far. Kind of obviously not on the forefront of things, for most part of the season, but he's a guy that he comes up and does our Saturday meetings after we have our Friday practice. Kind of we go over the Friday film with him, and he kind of goes over some of those detail and finer coaching points from that Friday practice. And but I know the guys will be behind him and are excited for him to have this opportunity.
So yeah, for those that don't know, I mean, Thomas Brown, he's been in the league since 2020. I knew him going back to he spent a year at Wisconsin back in 2014. Really? He was a really well respected. I know guys really liked him when he was a college coach. Just he was a position coach, just running backs coach, but guys really liked playing for him.
Yeah.
And so he spent 1 year with the Rams as the running backs coach, and by year 2, Sean McVay actually gave him the assistant head coaching title to go along with being the running backs coach. So and then eventually he elevated to offensive coordinator with the Panthers last year. So not a ton of play calling experience, but he did have that last year, and I do find it interesting. I think we all kind of do that he was with a rookie quarterback last year too, and the results might not have been great, but every stop along the way, you obviously learn from things that go right or go wrong, and so I think given this situation, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Quite frankly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, every situation, every place you're at it's always a little different. So, yeah, I mean, however you want to look into that, you look into that. But like every situation's unique to its own deal, and obviously we're at where we're at right now. And but I just kind of go back to what I was saying at the beginning of the perspective for this week is kind of getting a fresh mindset of it going and really dialing into this game plan that that Thomas will present to us, and then just cutting it loose on Sunday. But I truly just don't feel like we're out of it yet. Like it's 4-5. I know we're 4-5 and we're not where we want to be, but we still have all of our division games out in front of us. And I'm not ready just to turn this thing just yet. There's a lot of football left to be played.
So yeah, and that's where I've been coming from too. Even from Sunday, is like everybody wants to play the blame game all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, there was probably some of that yesterday at Hallis Hall, like whatever deliberations or evaluations they were doing, you look at what's gone wrong, obviously, but now it's got to be all about solutions. Like now it's just got to be like, okay, this is whatever. This is the situation you have. Mm-hmm. How do you get things better in the last 8 weeks of the season? Now, one of the things I want to give you an opportunity to address is so Jalen Johnson said yesterday, you've alluded to some of this too in the last couple of weeks too, in both on this show and in some of the interviews you've done at Hallis. It's just like guys doing things the right way.
Yeah.
And I personally, I feel like some of that's been misconstrued a little bit as like, not everybody in the locker room's pulling their own weight or showing max effort or everything. Tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I feel like what you and Jalen have kind of more been talking about is everything else that goes into being a professional player. Like it's not just about what's going on in the building. It's about what you're doing outside the building and understanding that like this is your full-time job and then some during you're in the NFL.
Yeah, I think when I first said that, I think the reaction to it immediately was like an indictment on our coaching staff, which is not how I truthfully meant that at all. It was more of me explaining and trying to allude to the standard at to which you have to be at to be a professional football player and be a high-level professional football player. And that's something that I'm chasing. I know that's something that Jalen Johnson chases every day. And I've been around Jalen now. We've been together this whole time throughout my whole career. And I know how that guy works. And I know what he's doing. And, the people that when the news comes out that he's not at OTAs, I know he's working. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, I don't have a question of, Jalen's not putting the work in. I know what Jalen's doing because I've been around him. I know him as a dude, and there's no like concern for me as to how he operates on a day-to-day basis. And he's living every day to be the best cornerback in the National Football League, and I know that because I've been around him for 5 years. And when we allude to that stuff, when we say like whatever it is, pulling your own weight or doing what you got to do and being a professional day in and day out, it is a 24/7 process. It is day in, it is day out. You live it, you breathe it, And once there's only so, and I know he alluded to like the horse, bringing the horse to the water, that whole quote. I mean, there's only so much that everyone around you can do to help certain guys out. At some point, you gotta reach that high and it's a high standard. And this is not easy with the things that we're alluding to. Like, this isn't just, oh yeah, just go do it and be it as it may. But this is like, it's not an easy standard to attain, but it's the standard at which I think me and Jalen and other guys believe that you have to get to if we want to be great and we want to be a Super Bowl caliber football team. And I think that's just what we're alluding to. And there's whatever you think you're doing, you have to do more. And like, I always feel like that every day. I know Jalen feels like that. And you got to have that feeling of whatever I'm doing is never enough. And you just keep going every day and put in more and more work. And obviously what we've done at this point isn't enough. And we got to elevate our standard and elevate our work ethic and keep going about that way. But I think that's kind of what we're more alluding to is making sure that when you come in the building every morning, you are dialed in to what is going on for that day and for that practice. And then when you leave the building, it's, going further into the film study, going further into the game plan, so that when you come in the next morning, you're more prepared than you were the day before. And I think that's just what we're talking about. And it's elevating this to a new standard. And again, not an easy thing to do, but it's something that we have to do if we want to become a Super Bowl caliber football team.
I also appreciated with what he was saying, how like introspective he was with like how much you can actually do to get your teammates to get to that level.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I think he kind of talked about this, like, yeah, I can show somebody exactly what I do, but like eventually if they're not gonna
if you like
rise to that level, like what else am I supposed to do?
Like he's talking about like, like you're making an excuse to do this, to do that. Like at some point, like you're prioritizing other things, which is fine. Like, and other things are going on, but like there's things that you have to, like you have to push aside. And like, you may not want to, or it may be a thing. And like the people around you in your life have to understand that. Like when I'm at home and I'm on film at, 8:30 on the iPad and, my fiance say, hey, put it down. It's like, okay, yeah, like maybe I should put it down at this point. But like, she also understands like, this is what it is. Like, this is what I have to do, especially in season. Like, this is a full-time deal. And like, my mind is on this all the time. And it's healthy at times to take your mind off it, to give a little bit of a mental break, but you have to be on it all the time. And going into like, leading the guys to water or whatever it may be, if we're spending all our time, if I'm spending all that time, Adam, like telling you what you have to do for the show every day or whatever it is, at some point that's taken away from my preparation. Like I can only do so much until it affects me. Like I got to take care of my lawn, of my land too. So, there's layers and levels to it, but again, I think what he's saying is correct. Like there is only so much you can do at a certain point when it shows to, hey, what you got to do on a daily basis to be a true pro.
So how long did it take you? Because I know you can't really speak for your teammates, but how long did it take you to understand what it took?
I think
was it immediate? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think by year 3, I really understood what it meant to do it from a day in and day out basis, and in the off season, and what that took, and in terms of, hey, you got to get to sleep on time. Like you can't like stay up, 1, 2 in the morning. Like you got to get to sleep on time. You got to get your sleep. Like that's important. What time you wake up and your routine, and it's not straying away from the routine. Like I do the same thing now. And I'd say this is my first full year doing it. No, last year too, was my Mondays through Sundays look exactly the same every day. Like okay. I do the same things Monday through Sunday. I on Monday it's I get my massage at the same time. It's at the same time every Monday. I do the same thing every Monday. I get in the tubs on Tuesday. I do the sauna Tuesday. Whatever. I work out I do my weights on Wednesday. On Thursday I'm doing my stretch and getting worked out. Friday after practice I got my yoga. Then after the yoga I do my massage. Saturday I'm doing stuff with the tub. Like the regimen is the same now for the whole week, and it's a process that works for me this year. And sure, there's things that change and flow with it depending on injuries you may have or whatnot. But you definitely got to dial into a process, and you got to get a rhythm going of what you're going to be doing every day, and you can't really fall out of that rhythm because you'll start cheating yourself.
So then I guess it's you have to allow for younger players then too, now that you're a veteran, to go through that same process.
Sure.
Like that's got to be a little bit tough though. Like you can't just in some level, like these rookies come in and it's like they're expected to perform immediately. But as a teammate, you also got to understand that like it's going to take some time for them to go through all this for themselves. They can't just listen to a veteran say this and have it snap immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a level of obviously accountability that younger players have to have, whether you're first, second, third year, and it takes a while to like dial in your process, but it is important to have that intent of building that process and being consistent with that process. So yeah, look, as vets, we understand, as especially older guys, when you're talking like a Mercedes Lewis or Keenan Allen, we understand like it takes some time for rookies and for younger players, first, second year players to kind of get up to speed with that. That being said, we are in a win now business, and you feel the pressure of that and the heat of that, and we all want to win now. And the window for a lot of guys it's not very long. And like I know like right now I'm in the prime of my career, age wise, and you only get so many good years to really go play high level football, and you don't want to waste them. And when we're at where we're at right now, that's why it's frustrating for guys on the team to see the level of talent that we have and the age of the guys that we have. We know we should be better right now, and you just don't want it to waste away.
So that brings us back to the fact there's still 8 games left in this season.
No, there's a lot of ball
left. You're still
left.
4-5. How hard is it to kind of keep that mentality that like, okay, the schedule is what it is. Mm-hmm. Your only choice is to look at, you're playing in the toughest division, but those games are at least still in front of you.
Yeah.
So I guess it's gonna be hard for you to give specific examples. I get it, like especially when it comes to scheme, you're not gonna do that. But like, what can you say about what can change, I guess, between now and Sunday against the Packers that can flip this thing in the right direction the rest of the way?
Yeah, well, I think obviously with the change, maybe there is a fresh perspective on maybe something we can do differently, and you leave it to the coaches to kind of figure that stuff out. And I think for us as players is just, and what I was saying earlier, getting more detailed into the plan, diving, going all in with it, having a great week of practice, being intentional about our practice week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then so once we get the practice week behind us, is you want to feel good leaving that Friday practice. You want to feel really good about the week that you had. You felt like it was a crisp, fast, precise week with what you're able to get accomplished. And, that's from the walkthroughs to the practice, all those things. And the meeting times, you want to feel really good about that leaving Friday, so that when you get to Saturday and we kind of do our little review before the game and you do your walkthrough, you're ready to go out and kick some ass and ready to go have some fun. And I think that's one thing I don't want to lose is, I know everyone's tight right now a little bit just because of the 3-game losing streak and kind of what's transpired over the past couple weeks. But once we kind of get our work in this week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like let's go cut loose and have fun. And like, let's get a good first drive going. Let's get the crowd back behind us a little bit, like show them that, this is going to be a little bit different this week, and come out with a little bit of a fresh perspective and just going out there and having fun. I think if we can go out there, have fun, cut loose, and trust our preparation from the week, I think we'll like the results. But I think it's a great opportunity to kind of course correct this thing, going against obviously our rival opponent, our first division opponent of the year. And you win this one, and you just kind of go on from there. But I really do believe, and I'm not just saying this, like I believe we have the talent to compete with our division. I really do believe that. And I think we just got to put this thing together here. But it comes down to our week of practice and how we prepare.
All right. Well, we are going to turn the page to this coming week. Fun guests.
Yeah.
On the show this week. A little bit of a family connection. I don't know if you want to set that up a little bit.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Lucas Van Ness, who defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, we grew up in the same hometown of Barrington, and Lucas actually dates my sister Frankie. So this is a fun little interview we got to do with Lucas the other day.
All right, so we'll get to that interview's coming up next, and we're going to talk more about obviously this game this week against the Packers too. First, we'll take our first break, and then talk to Lucas Van Ness after that. For over 25 years, Ankin Law has helped thousands of clients in Chicago and across Illinois get the compensation they deserve for their injuries. Auto, truck, rideshare, medical mistakes. Ankin Law is here to help and is one of the largest filers of workers' compensation cases in the state. When it comes to commercials, Ankin Law has been aligned with Chicago sports for over a decade, especially local Chicago athletes such as Ayo Dosunmu, Nicky Lopez, Chris Chelios, and needless to say, number 85, Cole Kmet. Call 312-6-million. Injury law made personal. That's Ankin Law. And the 85 is also brought to you by Circa Sportsbook. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures are in-game. Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Well, welcoming into the podcast for Packer Week, Lucas Van Ness. Well, first of all, man, how was the bye week? How was being with Frankie, my sister, for the whole week down in Miami?
First off, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd know better than anyone. These bye weeks are good for us, just mentally and physically, to have a little time off to just relax and enjoy ourselves. I was looking back at last year, and I think we had. I'm not sure what the earliest is. I think it's week 5 is the earliest bye week you can have.
Yeah,
we were either week 5 or week 6 last year. So having the bye week kind of in the middle of the season, just to kind of split it up 2 and 2 was nice. But went down to Florida, although the weather has been pretty mild here in Wisconsin, although it's probably pretty similar for you. It's just to get some good weather, enjoy some good food. We don't have too much good food around here, although I have been starting to find some new spots here in Green Bay. But
yeah,
it was nice, much needed.
Yeah, I know. So this year we had a reasonably early bye, I guess, from what I've been used to. We had it right after the London game. So this was the earliest bye I've ever had being in the league. Usually I've had it later, like week 10, week 11, week 12, some of the later buys. And so you go through that whole stretch of camp into the season, and then you finally get your bye week. You kind of take a breath, and then you get the 5 last games. But I've never had the week 5 or week 6 bye. It's
an early one.
That's early, man. How did that, I mean, that was your first year last year. So did that help you kind of give a break? Camp's long, and then you get the first 5 weeks, kind of help you reset there for the rest of the season? Or did you feel like the back half of the season was pretty long after that?
I think it was necessary. And, during the time, everyone says that that rookie year is the longest year. And looking back, obviously you get into the playoffs, it kind of, regardless how you're feeling, you're going to go out there and put, the best in the field. So I think that kind of helps you get through that back end. But I think ultimately the best is probably mid-season. Going through it 2 years, I think this is probably the best you can ask for.
Yeah, and then I mean, obviously there's the Thursday games that are sprinkled in throughout the season. Like I know, so we got one, I think or maybe it's right after you guys actually coming up here for Thanksgiving. We got the Thursday game, and then you kind of get the mini bye weekend, which is always nice, a good little reset there. I know you guys played out in Brazil for that, whatever that was. I think that first game on the Friday, but have you guys had any Thursday games other than that? Or
no, we have 2 coming up back to back though. We play on Thanksgiving in Lambeau as well, which is kind of crazy. So we'll have 3 NFC North teams going, which will be fun. But if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure after our first Thursday night game, we have 2 back to back.
And how do you like those Thursday night games? Do you like them, dislike them? I know there's mixed reviews for how guys feel.
Yeah, it's a short turnaround, but like you said, I think that little mini break you get after is nice. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it's definitely clutch, and I'm a huge fan of them because I don't know what you guys do, but we walk through that whole week. So like I know the turnaround's quick after the Sunday game, but you come in Monday, you do the report, you kind of go over your game from the day prior, but you get right to it. And then you're walking through the whole week. You might do a little run through Wednesday, Wednesday before the game. That's what we do. And then you're playing, and then you get the rest of the weekend off. I mean, for me, I'm like, yes, keep scheduling those Thursday games. I freaking love them.
Right. Got to love a primetime game too.
For sure.
the only game on Thursdays, because now then on Monday nights they got a couple games going, which is a little bit different than how they used to do it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so getting into you a little bit, your background. I mean, obviously, so people that don't know, Lucas dates my sister Frankie, and Lucas is from the same hometown as I am in Barrington, Illinois. So, a Barrington product, like ourselves, BYF products. So,
Exactly.
all that good stuff. But you also you played hockey growing up
Yep.
as well. Well, first of all, I want to know how good were you, and second, how tall were you on skates?
I'm probably a little biased, but I thought every time I stepped on the ice, I was the best one out there. Uh, I will say, normally hockey players aren't very big guys, so I don't think I ever came across anybody in my career that was taller than me.
Mhm.
Uh, and growing up in Chicago, I can't remember the exact years, but during like middle school, early high school, it was like 2010, 2013, and 2015 when the Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups.
Mhm.
So that was just, I remember like all my friends played hockey, and it was like the thing to do. And a little side story, I remember like I have no hockey connections, and when my parents moved into our house in Barrington that we still live in, our neighbor literally recommended to my parents I should start, and I remember I jumped into it, and it's been a sport I played all the way until my senior year. But I used to. There's a guy named Zdeno Chara. He's like one of the tallest NHL players. I believe he's like 6'9" or 6'10". So that used to be like my dream guy to look up to.
Yeah,
We were pretty good though. My senior year, we Illinois hockey's not bad. I feel like it's kind of up there with Minnesota and Wisconsin and some of
sure.
those big states. But we went all the way until state, and then COVID hit, so we never got to play and decide who would have won, which was tough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe 10 to 15 years down the road, maybe being able to throw the skates on again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's no way you can throw them on right now. You can't risk
Yeah,
it
no,
getting hurt
exactly.
during then. But you get any looks college wise, or I mean I know the
Yeah,
hockey process is a little strange. I know
yeah.
everyone's a little older, but
It's
did you get any
once
looks for college?
once I kind of decided to go the high school route, it's kind of tough to get the looks. As
Okay.
you said, you kind of got to go like a double A, triple A, and then kind of go through that process. But when I actually went down to Illinois, they were starting their hockey program, and I remember they actually offered me if I joined the Illini to be a part of their hockey team as well, which would have been interesting for sure.
Oh, that is cool. Okay,
So I
so
I
go.
do have some cool pictures, just me in the hockey jersey and the football jersey side by side.
Oh, that's sweet. That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay, so going into now, you ultimately chose Iowa to go to for football. Who else did you get recruited by? What was that whole process like in high school for you? And kind of what ultimately led your decision, decide on Iowa amongst the others?
Yeah, I was the first in my family to ever play college football. So come sophomore year, I had a pretty productive season, and I started getting a little bit of conversation from some smaller schools, and that I might have the potential to play at the next level. And I remember my dad and I going into my junior year, we kicked off a Twitter account, and I remember DMing like 30 to 50 different college coaches, just keep me on your radar. I'll send you my film after the year. But went through my junior year, and I started to garner some attention. It was mostly just kind of smaller FCS schools. And then I went to a bunch of camps. Lindenwood was like one of those big mega camps they do in St. Louis. I went to an Iowa camp, an Iowa State camp. Really camped everywhere until I kind of
You were on
started.
the camp circuit. The
Yeah,
camp circuit.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So I started out with like the service academies. I think Eastern Illinois was my first D1 FBS offer, and then it kind of rolled from there. But after Iowa, I got an Iowa offer. I went to Iowa State. I had Minnesota, and it kind of was an easy choice for me. Coincidentally, my parents both actually went to Iowa State. So when I chose
Oh
Iowa,
wow.
it was a little house divided. But I felt like in the age of college football, Coach Ferentz has been there for 25 years, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of coaches. It's kind of hard when you commit to a school you don't know you're going to get there, and if
Sure.
it's going to be the same coaching staff or even the same position coach. So I just felt with their repertoire of defense, they've been playing at a high level for a long time, and they have a pretty good pipeline with the NFL. And I just felt my sister attended there at the time. My dad's originally from Iowa. It all kind of worked out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a great program. I know, much like Notre Dame, with the ability to kind of pump out talent in the NFL as well too. It's a good place for people from the Midwest to go to, and kind of feels like a home away from home. Those type of places. So
3 hours wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, that's an easy drive, and you can always get back in time. So I do have a question for you though. Who do you believe is tight end you, Notre Dame or Iowa?
That's got to be the Hawkeyes.
maybe most recently I have to give it to Iowa, but I'd have to say over the course of college football history, I'm gonna have to go with Notre Dame. I mean, we got a long lineage of tight ends.
Yeah, I think there's a good argument on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you guys most recently you have Sam, George, Hawkinson, Fant. So I mean,
think it's Dallas Clark if we're talking
Dallas
about
Clark. Yeah, it is it's pretty strong. I'm not gonna lie to you. In the new age, it's probably I'd probably have to give it to Iowa there. That's for sure.
I love it. Love it.
All right. So okay, here's a funny story. I don't know if you know this story, but I was at our Christmas party 2 years ago for the Bears, and I was hanging out. And usually they have everybody there. So they have our scouting department, like everybody that's in the front office stuff, like everybody's there in the Christmas party. So I go to the buffet line and I'm grabbing just some food, and I was just gonna hang out there for a couple hours and kind of just show face and have a good time and then get out of there. And so I'm sitting down with some of our scouts, and I think this was when you and Frankie really kind of first started dating. And maybe it was a couple months earlier than that. And they were asking me about you, and they were like, "Hey, do you know anything about this Lucas Van Ness?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my sister dates him. How do you guys know who that is?" And they're like, "He's gonna be a top 15 draft pick." And I was like, "What?" Like, and I didn't know that much, and I hadn't watched much of the of college football. Once you get in the league, I'm sure you realize you don't have as much time to watch. But like, and I knew like who you were. I knew you were a player, but I was like, a top 15 pick? What are you talking about? They're like, yeah, and like, and then they were asking me like, do you know if he's coming out? And I'm like, well, he sure as hell should be if he's gonna be a top 15 pick. Like, that's crazy. So sure enough, I left, and then I asked my dad, like, I was like, hey, like, is Lucas like, he's like a first round top 15 talent? And my dad was like, yeah, like he is, like he's gonna go in the top 15. And I was like, that is freaking insane. So my question to you is, were you surprised about your draft stock after your junior season? I know it kind of hits quickly, but what was that whole process like for you?
Yeah, I did one of those underclassmen reports, and they say it's like I'm not sure, but like up to like 90% accuracy. And I received a second round grade back, and all the feedback from all the teams was like super positive. And I've always kind of believed you strike when the iron's hot, and you kind of gotta take a chance on yourself. And you just never know, knock on wood, with injury or so I kind of felt that there was a little bit of a buzz going around, and I believed in myself, and then I was able to join on with Athletes First and Kyle McCarthy, which you know very well since we share the same agent.
Yes.
But I once I decided, Coach Ferentz, stood all the way behind me the whole time, and I kind of knew that I only had 2 years of college tape behind me since I came in during COVID, so I didn't have the opportunity to play in that short year. But I knew my numbers and what I'd put out on the combine would be really good, and I believed in just my potential to go and talk with coaches and just kind of prove myself. So it ultimately was a good decision.
Yeah, no, I think it worked out for you just fine. I remember when I got my grades, because I was wanting to come back to school actually to play another year, and I think you were the same way. Like, you kind of wanted to stick with your buddies and one, graduate. For me, another thing was I wanted to play baseball with Casey, who was coming in as a freshman that year, and so I had gotten the email from, I think it was like from Dave Pelquin, who was like our team manager or whatever for Notre Dame, and telling me to like go meet with BK Brian Kelly to go over my college report. And when you get it, like, you see all the grades for it, and I got it too as well. Fortunately, I actually got picked in the second round. You got picked, in the top 15, like everyone said you would. But it is a crazy thing to kind of see it on the sheet, like, hey, this is where you're going to go. And it, it definitely makes the decision, I think, a little bit more clear.
Totally.
Kind of clarifies things. But I did want to, because I know a big thing for you was going to be your combine performance. And I know you like killed it off the charts. That whole process of training and all that, like you said, you felt pretty confident going into it that you were going to kill it, huh?
Yeah, I just knew once I got in the location and locked in for a couple months, especially training out in California, they have a really good repertoire of taking these athletes and developing them in a short amount of time and allowing them to produce out in the field. So I believed in myself, and like you said, it was hard. I still am working to get my degree here. Kind of a similar situation. My brother just got to Iowa in his freshman year, so I'm hoping, depending on how many years it takes me within the next 3 or 4 years, maybe I can walk with him one day to graduate, which would be cool.
Are you just knocking those out over online? How do they allow
yeah,
you to do
it was hard when I came in during COVID. They didn't really allow summer classes.
Right.
So I kind of was unfortunately able to really just do classes throughout the year, and I had a decent amount left when I left Iowa. So I've just been chipping away in the spring, trying to do like 8 to 10 hours, and the pace I'm on, hopefully within the next few years, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, that's how mine was. I got lucky. Notre Dame never did online classes, at least during the regular semesters. They would offer some online in the summer, but I got lucky because when I came out, it was the first COVID year.
I'll probably have to go back.
Yeah. So it was like a perfect time. So I didn't have to go back for one of the semesters. So I cranked out like 18 credits online, and it was like the best. So I was in Florida for the off season, and I just cranked out like 18 credits online. And then I did another summer session of online credits. And then I did have to go back for one semester for my final one. And that's when I walked with Casey, which we were just talking, which was a lot of fun. And, we were back in South Bend, living it up, living in this small ass apartment and doing our thing. But it was a lot of fun. And it's definitely worth getting a degree, I think. I think totally. Yeah, I think it's a good thing just to kind of have. So, all good stuff there. So, okay. So you leave, you get drafted by Green Bay, and you kind of get to stick close to home, which is awesome. I know, you spend some time up in Wisconsin and all that. So that's all cool stuff. What has been the transition like for you so far going from college to the pro game?
Yeah, I think we have changed defensive schemes this year. So obviously it's changed a little bit. So kind of just coming in last year, learning a whole new defensive scheme with a 5 down front. Or 3 down, I guess, and then kind of going to the 4 down front this year. But I think more than anything, in college, you're just kind of used to your linebackers making all the calls and kind of just letting you know where to go and what to do. And in NFL, you kind of got to know what you're doing and make the adjustments yourself. So I think a little bit of player responsibility and just having the IQ and the knowledge. I think just my knowledge of the game has improved immensely over the past 2 years. I think also just a 17-game season is long compared to college. So I just we were just talking about those bye weeks and utilizing just recovery and making sure your body's just ready to go every Sunday. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, it can get you for sure. One of the things that really caught me off guard, I remember the first time I came in and had the media in the locker room. I didn't know that was a thing. So I came in and I'm changing and the media's in there asking questions, and it definitely caught me off guard. But it's a part of this league, and just had to get used to it really quick, I guess.
Yeah, I know that's been a stirred up thing recently with all the media members in the locker room. I don't know if I've still gotten used to it. I think we've been better, at least in our locker room, about just kind of moving it outside for some of the stuff. But yeah, no, that is definitely a little weird. I will. So talking back about how long the season is, though, like I remember my first year. Once you get to Thanksgiving, because usually by then that's usually your last regular season game of college is that Thanksgiving weekend. So we get to Thanksgiving, and then I think 2 weeks later, I in my head I hit that like rookie wall moment where it was like, holy shit, this is a long year. Did you have that feeling in year one? Did you hit what you would say as a rookie wall?
Yeah, I remember more just mentally, I just kind of felt mentally drained during a couple weeks. But I think just having the people surrounded with you and your teammates, you kind of manage to push you through a little bit. But I think that's everyone experiences a little bit. And even this year, I have 2 rookies on either side of me in my locker, and I keep telling them, like, it's a long ride, so just take care of yourself, keep yourself, mentally and physically just positive, and just keep coming to work every day and working, and the season will take care of itself. Because if you start, looking at the long run and don't focus day to day, it can get long on you.
For sure. And I've always made sure, I think the first year was tough for me with COVID just because we were kind of locked down and, you're really just going to the facility and back to the apartment and you're just doing that constantly over and over again.
Yep.
What is nice though, for me at least, is, being here in Chicago is like, there's so much to do,
Yep.
Going out to restaurants or whatever it is. Like me and Emily will do our Friday night date nights in the city or whatever. And like kind of just, mentally it's a good way to get away. So how the heck do you deal with living in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and what the hell do you guys do out there on a day-to-day basis once you're away from the facility?
I was actually talking to Xavier McKinney about this the other day, coming from New York, and he's like, "It's just football out here. That's all we do out here is football."
Yeah.
But I've honestly, as much as it's quiet and it's an easy way of living, but as much as you might enjoy like a city life or having the ability to do that, I think it does help you just stay locked in on football.
For sure.
It's a really good area just to, I can see, raise a family. It's very Midwestern. People are super nice. I don't gotta, anytime we go to restaurants or sit down, people are just, they grew up with Packer players around, that's just kind of a normal thing around here. So it's been great. I love Green Bay. I don't ever got to deal with traffic before or after. I get home in 10 minutes right off the highway. But no, it really is good. I think it's a lot better than what most people would expect.
Yeah, to me, I always just envisioned it like it's living in a college town, I guess, but without all the kids there. I guess you're just, but it is what it is, I guess. So, okay, last thing for me, just kind of previewing this upcoming weekend. What is it like for you when you come back for Soldier? Do you got a lot of family coming in town? Or I mean, they're already in town, but coming to the game, and how many tickets do I got to get you for this weekend?
Yeah, I might need some.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a busy one. Parents and family will definitely be there. You can take Frankie on your side.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, I wonder what she'll wear. We'll see what she'll wear.
I think she's dialing something up that would be pretty good. So we'll have to wait until game day to see. But you've been in this a couple of years longer than me, but I think everybody knows that Bears Packers is a pretty historic game every year, and it's cool growing up kind of in the Chicago area, being able to come back and play and be in Soldier and be in a stadium that I've watched the Bears play a couple times. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good one this weekend, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Well, I got to make sure I get you my jersey for this weekend because the last time we played, I was supposed to give it to you, but they ended up cutting it off me because I broke my forearm. I remember. Yeah. So I got to make sure I get you the jersey for this weekend.
Across the middle of the field. I think I remember that.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. I remember it vividly. But okay, man, I appreciate you coming on. This was really cool for me to do with you, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll see you Sunday. Thanks for having me on, Cole.
Hey, by now, ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient. The Energy Efficiency Program can help find up to 35% in energy savings. So what does a business have to do? You just sign up for a free facility assessment at ComEd.com/biz. So why aren't more businesses doing it? Well, maybe they forgot the website, so here it is again, ComEd.com/biz. That's B-I-Z. ComEd.com/biz. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law. Keeping things going here on the 85 with Cole Kmet. Fun interview there with Lucas Van Ness. And I gotta ask you, how does this work on game day? Like your sister does she support her brother? Boyfriend?
I don't know how it works, especially when we get matched up against each other.
Yeah.
Like, there might be a couple times I'm in pass pro against them, so I don't know who or how that works in her mind. I'd love to know. She won't say, but she does get the field. She will get a field pass, so she'll be on the field. So I'll say hello to her. I don't know what she's gonna wear to the game. I mean, I know we were talking after about the shirt that she has that it's kind of split. So we'll see what she does. If she's smart, she probably wears Bear stuff to this game, and then you wear Green Bay stuff to when we play at Lambeau. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how she operates this thing.
How many times did you guys match up against each other last year?
You're saying on the field?
Yeah.
There was a good amount of reps. The first game I got him. There was a little bit more reps I had against him. Got him a little early at a couple times, I'll say. I had him in a few pass pro reps that I had some good reps on. But no, Lucas has gotten better and better as he's progressed in his career. So looking forward to the matchup, and now with Preston getting traded, I'm sure he'll have even more playing time and more responsibilities out there.
And they changed their scheme a little bit, right?
Yeah, so they used to be more 3 down. Now they're more of a 4 down team.
And now this is just me interjecting my own opinion, but having watched him closely in the Big Ten and coming out last year, obviously very talented, but I feel like this scheme fits him better.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think being a true DN and being able to play that, I think that kind of fits his play style a little bit more.
Okay, I love that dynamic.
Yeah.
Like I don't, any animosity with the sister's boyfriend, you could just take it out on the field.
No, yeah, I mean I know I told the story about the scout, all that stuff that was heard in the interview, but I remember the first time when I met Lucas, my dad was talking about, there's this Frankie's dating this kid. He was from Barrington and he's at Iowa. He's like, I think he's pretty good. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, does he play a lot? He's like, yeah, he plays quite a bit. And I didn't really know who he was. And so then during Christmas that year, he came by and like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, holy shit, this dude is huge. Like, and there's not many people that I stand next to that are as tall as me or taller. But he's like a plus size version of me. Like he's 6'7", 275, where I'm 6'6", right around 260. Like him at 275 at like 5% body fat is just it's crazy. He's a freak, but he's a great person, and obviously wishing him nothing but the best while he's up there, except this Sunday and the last Sunday of the season.
Right. That's funny. It's funny that in the division.
Now, obviously, you're busy this Thanksgiving. Have you guys ever been at the same house for Thanksgiving? Because I feel like that has to be an intense turkey bowl game.
Yeah, that would be. We haven't had that yet. Maybe down the road when both of us are done playing. I'm sure that would be a fun little turkey bowl that we'll have on that Thanksgiving Thursday.
Well, what a great guest for the show this week.
Yeah, no, it was cool. That was a fun one for me to do for sure.
Well done. And all right, let's talk about this game a little bit. We got our keys to the game, as always, presented by Circa Sports. You can download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app.
Yeah, so obviously a big game for us this weekend, going against our rival, and no better game to kind of have come up, in my opinion, to kind of course correct some things and get some momentum going forward. So first division game of the year against our rival at home. Should be a fun atmosphere for us. I'm always excited to go play in this game. I haven't won this game yet, and so this is a big motivation for me to go out here and finally win one of these things. And this game means a lot, I know, to a lot of people in the Chicago area, and it means a lot to me and my family, and obviously now with the connections that we have with it, it is a special day for us. So I'm excited about it. Obviously, this is a team that's been on the rise for the past couple years in Green Bay, and Jordan has done a really good job over there at the quarterback position, and their defense has done really good with the takeaways, and that's something that we got to be conscious of offensively. And I think that we've done a good job with it has actually been taking care of the football, and we got to continue doing that, along with adding more explosives to our offense. We just haven't had enough of those, and those kind of help condense the drives and make the drives go a little bit quicker, and you got to be able to get those chunk plays. So we got to find those, whether it be in the run or pass game. We got to be able to find some explosives there. And I think, defensively, I know the guys are really talking about taking the football away and being really good in that regard. And special teams still doing their thing. They've been, I know with what's been going on, but they've been really fantastic this past month or so. And I know that DC had a big punt return there in the game last week, and I know they're looking to really break one on there and maybe score a few touchdowns as well. So a good opportunity for us this upcoming weekend here against Green Bay, and I think those are kind of all the things that will need to kind of happen if we want to come out ahead.
I know it's still early in the week, and obviously there's been a lot going on. So I don't know if you guys are behind it all, but I know So they brought in Jeff Hafley who was the Boston College head coach. They changed the scheme. Like you said, they're taking the ball away at a high clip. So I guess, what have you been able to see already that's going to be different from maybe the last time you guys played them twice last year?
Yeah, well, obviously the 4-down structure is a little bit different in terms of how you go about that, and that's not what I've ever experienced with Green Bay. It's always been that 3-down structure, so you kind of gotta have to get used to that and how those ends play it. They play it a little bit differently, and so we'll be ready to go with that. And we've gone against plenty of 4-down teams where we'll be comfortable enough, but it is a little bit different from what the standard Green Bay defense has been in years past. In the back end, they're still very good, and I think that's where you see a lot of the takeaways with the interceptions and punching the ball out downfield, and they're they obviously have made a big point of that. And when you can turn over the ball at a high clip on defense, you're going to give your offense a lot of good opportunities. So we got to do a good job of locking it up, being good high and tight in traffic and all those things, and class pan, all that type of good stuff. And I know Caleb's going to be conscious about putting the ball in harm's way and all those things. So we got to make sure we take care of that in our regard. And I know the defense sees a lot of opportunities on film to go take the ball away from them, whether that be it through the air or punching the ball out. There's a lot of opportunities there, and I think we really match up well in the special teams area as well. We've been operating at a high clip, and I think they've been struggling just a little bit, and I think that's an area where you can really take advantage and get good field position because of it.
How much does it matter at all when your opponent's coming off a bye?
Yeah, I don't think about that too much.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were on a bye until the other day when I was talking to Lucas. Yeah. I was like, wait, you guys didn't even play this past week. I don't look into it too much. I mean, I'm sure they're maybe a little more fresh. But, that being said, like there's times where you'd rather not go on a bye. Like I would say for us, I would have rather not gone on a bye just because of where we were after the London game. But, that's just kind of how the schedule lays out. So we'll see where they're at. And, they got to be traveling to us after a bye week. And, maybe we can take advantage of them, can maybe coming out a little bit slow just because of being off for a week of playing. So, but we'll see where they're at early. And, some teams are able to come out quickly and come out with a lot of energy, and some, it takes a little bit for them to get going. So we'll see where they're at, but I wouldn't say I look too much into that.
Yeah, I figured that was the answer. I was just curious, like if you guys can ever sense even like as the game's starting or early on in a game. But my guess was the answer would just be, once the ball's kicked off, and all that kind of goes out the window.
Oh, yeah. I would agree to that.
100%. All right, you got a question for me?
Yeah. When is it too early to start putting up Christmas decorations?
Ooh.
Are you an after Halloween guy, or are you got to wait till after Thanksgiving?
I have to say, like as I've aged, I've kind of evolved on my opinion on this.
Okay.
I used to always be like Thanksgiving is its own holiday.
Sure.
And then the day after Thanksgiving, you can start doing it.
Okay.
And now I'm kind of like, gives a shit. Like, like I like Christmas. Why can't I put my lights up now?
I think I felt like that a couple years ago, and then since I've now like been in my own area, my own house, like I like having, especially because it gets so dang dark here early after the time change. Like I kind of want the Christmas lights going a little bit. I want the Christmas tree up. Makes me feel a little bit better about the day when it's dark at 5:15. And I kind of include it as part of the holiday season. So it's, during Thanksgiving, you still got the tree up. There's some lights going. I'm all for it.
I'm with you because the time change, even last night, I thought it was like 8:30 or something.
Yeah, it's like 5:45.
And I looked at my phone and I was ready to put the kids to bed. I'm like, it's not even close to their bedtime. Damn it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it gets so dark so early. It's nuts. But maybe we can do away with this daylight savings thing at some point. But it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. Well, so we're in agreement. Go ahead and put all your Christmas decorations up.
Let's get it going.
We're fine with it.
Let's get it
Not
going.
that you need permission. All right. Well, considering the circumstances, man, I mean, good show.
Yeah.
I am as an outsider very curious to see how the whole team responds this week.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone on the outside, like fans, and like you guys can feel however you want to feel. I'm taking the positive approach, and I'm excited for this week. I will never take for granted this game. I love playing in this game, and I know I haven't won it yet, but like this is the game I look forward to every year, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity to course correct here and get things going with the whole division out in front of us. So I think we got to, like I said earlier, we got to attack this week with a lot of intensity, a lot of focus, a lot of precision, And then, coming out Friday after we put a good week of practice behind us, get ready and get fired up to go for this game, bring a lot of energy to the stadium. And I'm excited to see with where we're at on Sunday. So a great opportunity here to get going, and there's nothing like this game. So I'm really grateful and really excited to be playing against the Packers here this upcoming Sunday at Soldier Field. So,
all right, and let's see you guys out there too wearing your 85 gear.
Yeah. Wear the 85 gear out. That'd be awesome.
You can go to store.allcitynetwork.com to see the entire 85 collection. It is awesome. And the best part is 1% of the proceeds support Special Olympics Illinois. Great organization Cole's been working with for a while, serving individuals of all ages with intellectual disabilities, and they provide year-round sports competition, training, health education, leadership development. Obviously, Special Olympics is one of the best organizations out there, so you can help support Special Olympics by buying the gear, the 85 collection, which, again, go to store.allcitynetwork.com. And hopefully, Cole, we are talking about a big win over the Packers on next week's show.
Yeah, that could be awesome. That'd be great. So let's do that. Let's get there, and we'll move on forward from there. So looking forward to it.
The 85 is powered by Incan Law. Injury law made personal. They're here to help. Visit IncanLaw.com to learn more.